Welcome to Riding the Trauma Train, or welcome back if we've shared this space before. I'm Lydia, your host and fellow passenger in this journey of self-healing, inner strength and personal growth. This podcast is a safe, judgment-free space dedicated to the realities of living with and healing from trauma. Through personal stories and in-depth conversations with special guests, including therapists, healers, practitioners, and fellow survivors, we look at what healing can truly look like in everyday life. We explore realistic healing journeys and share simple, sustainable practices and actionable tools to support your well-being along the way. So grab your ticket, take a seat, and remember you are not on this journey alone. Today, I'm welcomed by Hannah. Hannah is the host of the Sacred Shit Show, and Hannah is a holistic health practitioner and a metaphysical mentor who helps spiritual misfits regulate their nervous systems through nature, ritual, and nervous system informed healing. So grab your ticket, take a seat, and remember you are not on this journey alone. Hannah, welcome to this episode of Riding the Trauma Train.
Hello.
So lovely to have you here. And I found you actually randomly on Facebook on the Wiltshire Wellbeing business page and basically fell in love with everything that you do.
I love that.
So tell me a bit about you. So I know obviously you really delve into trauma and nervous system regulation, so much so that you call yourself the nervous system queen. Is that right? Or regulator queen?
Yeah, the system queen. That's actually a title that I've only just taken this year. So, I've really dived deep into that. But it originally all started with CBD. So 6.5 years ago, I launched my own CBD company called Hannabis because it was just a play on words with Hannah and cannabis. And then that went really, really well. Hannabis is still very much alive today, but it has been slightly tweaked and rebranded as the years have gone on because as much as I love CBD, I think it's incredible. There's so many other things out there which are incredible as well. And I wanted to be able to tap into all of them, but I felt very trapped by the brand being Hannabis. It was Hannabis CBD movement. So I felt very trapped by that. So then about 3.5 years ago, we rebranded to the Strange Apothecary because I'm Hannah Strange. So it still had that personal touch, but it was more expansive and we could do a bit more with that brand. And then we introduced things like mushroom supplements, essential oils, natural skincare and hair care, superfoods and everything. And then earlier this year, I was sat just, doing mindset work and training with mentors and stuff, which we all do when we're business owners. And I was like, well, what is my actual niche? What is it? What does it all really boil down to? And I was like, well, when you really just strip it back to its nothingness, it's all about regulation inside the body and working with your nervous system. And I like to say that we take nervous system healing on a 5-dimensional journey. So through your body, where we create the stabilization with the supplements, through your mind, where we use the Sacred Shit Show, which is our membership and our podcast, to really work on the mindset side. And then you've got your energy side, which again can be used with the supplements and the mindset side, because energy is a vast subject as well. We often think of energy as get up and go. But energy can be so much more than that. It can be the energy you give off to people and the energy you approach things with. And then we've got your spirit and your soul as well, which is also really integrated into what we do in the Sacred Shit Show and the Strange Apothecary as well. We've got our own 6-week healing modality, which is called the Sacred Portal. And we take people through that and we work with them for 6 weeks on a one-to-one or group basis, depending on what tier they select. And that's all video based and somatic healing based content. And then I've also got my one-to-one 24-week program called Rebel and Recalibrate, because we are rebelling against the system as we know it and recalibrating ourselves to listen to our own intuition. And you can really break into that world with my book. And I released that earlier this year. It reached the bestsellers list, and it's called The Sacred Rebellion. And that is all about listening to your own intuition and seeing what you really need. Because being in the healing world myself, I know how overwhelming it can be with people constantly shouting like, this is the best thing, no, this is the best thing, this is what you need. And yeah, it's all great. It's all incredible. Everyone does such incredible work, but it's not what every individual needs. And it's just, you need to take a step back sometimes and really evaluate what's out there and what's available and where you are at in your own personal life to see where you need to go and what you need to turn to. Because, you know, you could be right at the beginning and just like breaking into the more like natural spiritual world and be really off put by some of the really woo language that people use. Or you could be really, really deep into that world and understand it greatly and really love the language that people use and the way that they present themselves. So, you know, I'm not there for everyone, but I'm there for the ones that understand it a little bit and want to break into that world a bit more.
That makes sense, because that every person's healing journey is different, isn't it? I think even as a person on my healing journey, I have been through different stages of it. Like what would have worked for me 10 years ago may not work for me now. So there are so many different ways of moving forward. I love that your program is kind of prescribed to people depending on what they need, because it's not like a one thing fits all, because the healing isn't that at
Really,
all.
no, it really isn't. I love to look at healing as a spiral. And you'll see that presented in a pretty way by some people, where it's like a spiral that you kind of climb your way to the top to. But that's not what it is. It's a spiral where you just unlock new layers constantly, and something that you think that you've healed from, like some childhood trauma that you've been through and you've done some real deep work in it, you'll be like, oh, that's great. I can put that in a box and like that's done, tie it in a nice little bow. But then a few years later, you'll be a little bit further down in your journey and something will come up which will trigger that thing inside of you again, but at a different level. And that's what the spiral really is. It's climbing through those different levels, and your healing journey is never complete. I always see people say like, oh, I'm not healed yet. And I have to resist being like, you'll never be healed. You know, like I have to really hold back and be like, no, because they're not in that place where they understand yet. And like, I don't want to burst their bubble and say like, no, you're never going to be healed, because also that could then flip it completely for them and they could stop working on that journey for themselves, and they'll discover that themselves as they go deeper and deeper into the journey. I don't want to be the reason that someone goes, well, what's the point then? I'll just stop healing because I'm never going to be healed, because that's where they're at in that journey if they're using that context and believe that they will one day be completely healed.
It's like acceptance and awareness, isn't it? Because when you I think when you start your healing journey, you start it with the thought process that you are going to get to the end of this journey and everything's going to be gone and it's going to be sunshine and rainbows and unicorns. And then when you work through stuff on a deep level, it's like, oh, okay, I still need to walk with this and I will be walking with it forever. However, there is a different way that you can walk with it. It's like having, I think you do shadow work. So we'll talk about that shortly. It's like walking with your shadow. Your shadow will always be there. Every now and again, it might be really, really dark. Every now and again, it might be transparent, but it will always walk with you. So as I've said that, tell me about this shadow work. I don't actually know what shadow work is. Well, now I've used the word shadow, I really want to know.
So because it's called shadow work, everyone assumes that it's like a really dark concept where you're going to go and really like face the darkest version of you. But it's really not about that. It's about just taking a moment. If you feel triggered by something, instead of projecting those triggers onto someone else, just sit with them for a minute and be like, why do I feel like this? Like there's something deeper rooted here for me to look at. And this is actually an opportunity for me to take a look at why I feel this way and to take the next step into my healing journey. I mean, I used to be one of those people that did think shadow work meant looking at the real deep, dark parts of myself. And I'd be like, but I'm a good person. I'm a nice person. I don't have a shadow. Everyone has a shadow. Absolutely everyone. We all have trauma at different degrees, obviously. But one thing that I have learned is being a parent myself, that you will give your children childhood trauma no matter how good of a parent that you are. You could be the most incredible parent that's the most understanding, the most giving, but there will always be something that they cling on to that will impact them in their adulthood life. And that is just a given. You know, you can't avoid it. It's just the way that it is. But what you can do is heal yourself and carry on going through that journey. So when your child is at that point, you can then try to guide them into how they can overcome those things. Because it can be something really, really silly and sinister. I can't say that word. But, you know, like your child can be doing something and they'll get really upset by something, and you can be like, oh, don't worry, it's just a game, you know. But to them, that thing is so incredibly important to them that they're like, oh, well, I'm just silly then because I really love this and I believe that it's so incredibly important to me. And they'll hold on to that as they grow and learn, and they'll be like, oh, I'm silly. And then that can turn into like, oh, I'm stupid, I'm an idiot. And that's how things evolve from childhood trauma. You know, they make their own stories around it. And shadow work is really about leaning into your own childhood trauma, because that's where a lot of our shadow comes from. Because everything in your life is kind of shaped by the time you're about 7 years old. My children are 9 and 8, and that terrifies me. I'm like, shit, like this.
Mine are 10 and 7, so
yeah,
I'm with you.
It's like, oh my God, everything that's happened in their lives already, this is what's going to shape them as an adult. And like, yes, I can try and help guide them and push them into the ways of life to do the healing, but fundamentally it's up to them at the same time. You know, you can guide someone, but it's like, what's the saying? You can lead a horse to water,
but you can't make it drink.
Exactly. And I do hope, you know, seeing me and their father going through the journey and the growth that we've been through, they will kind of do the same thing. But you can give someone the best upbringing, and what they do as an adult can be completely out of a parent's hands.
Yeah. So I think the best way that we can teach our children is to get them to kind of be able to self-regulate. I know with what you were saying then about like the game and the silly and things progressing, our bodies, like the trauma, if you've been through something horrific like sexual trauma as a child, if you've been through something that's physical, if you've been through something that's emotional, like all of the aspects of child abuse, if you then take them, and like you say, if you give my youngest daughter, I walked into the kitchen this morning. They were making Nutella on toast. They've not had Nutella for a very long time. And I was so tired. I was kind of just like walking in like a zombie. And my daughter was like, I don't like it when you make that face. And I was like, I'm not making a face at you. I'm literally just walking in. But that in her mind was me like giving her a nasty stare or something. But it wasn't. I was just literally walking in, not even acknowledging what was going on in the room. So I think because of our nervous system doesn't know the difference. It's just taking on that kind of aspect of it, isn't it?
Yeah. So like your nervous system, you think that you are healed from something, like you've worked through it. You're like, yeah, I understand why that happened. That's absolutely fine. But your body remembers it in a completely different way. And you can't logic your way out of an unregulated nervous system as much as you want to, as much as you try. You really can't do it. Like you just can't. It just takes practice, you know. And when you realize that you are triggered or unregulated for whatever reason, for you to be like, right, no, I need to center myself again, ground myself into being present in this moment, not the past, and really teach your body that that particular thing doesn't mean what it used to anymore. And all you can do really is just constantly try to do better in those situations and constantly be telling your body that this is okay now. We're not scared anymore. We're safe now. It's time to move on. And it just takes practice, 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 practice. And I think that's where a lot of people get stuck because
Yeah.
they're very much like, well, I've done that though. Like, why am I still having this reaction? And it's just because that's what your nervous system's remembering. Your nervous system is there to keep you safe. So it will
Yeah.
remember everything that made you feel unsafe and it will try and protect you. It's very similar with your ego as well. Your ego is part of your nervous system and it's there to try and keep you safe and make you, when you're feeling vulnerable, to protect you. So you just have to try and put them to one side on that occasion and really lean into why you're feeling that way and why your body is reacting in that way and do the healing spiral. It's going to constantly be something else that comes up and triggers those feelings in your nervous system that makes you feel triggered or unregulated. So inside the Sacred Shit Show, we do daily like nervous system prompts, and some people will like read the prompt and like that's it, that's all they do with it. Other people will really lean into it and they'll like journal on that prompt and like take it a bit deeper. And I really, really love seeing how the different people use the space, because honestly, like the more you do lean into it, the more you like take that time to really feel what that brings up for you, the more incredible your journey is. And the more like, I don't want to use the word advanced, but it's just for a lesser known word, the more advanced your healing journey is. So it's an incredible space. And it's so fascinating to me seeing how the individual people within it react to the different things that are shared.
Can you, this is putting you on the spot. Can you, if somebody is going through a trigger and they're in that moment where they kind of can't, the overwhelmedness of what's going on, can you give us like a little tidbit or a practical tip that they can kind of use to center themselves and bring themselves back to a bit of calm?
So something that you always have with you is your breath. No matter where you are, what situation you're in, no matter your disabilities or anything, you always have your breath because you can't be alive without your breath, right? So one thing that I always, always get people to lean into is to breathe in through their nose for 4 seconds and breathe out through their mouth for 6 seconds. That actually triggers your nervous system, well, tricks your nervous system actually into a feeling of safe and security. So when you do that, obviously do it more than once, do it for however long that you need to do it for. I would say a minimum of 3 times, absolute minimum, but you can keep using it as much as you need. There's no limit. If you want to sit there and do it 100 times because you feel that unsafe, you absolutely can. But the 4 and the 6 is an absolute game changer. Every single person I have recommended it to has been like, wow, I didn't realize something that incredibly simple could have such a massive impact on how I feel at the time. And it's something I try and integrate into a lot of the stuff I do. So even on my podcast, when I say, in through the nose, I'll personally count 4. And then when like exhale through the mouth, I will personally count 6 until we move on to the next thing. So it's integrated in a lot of different stuff that we do. And yeah, like I said, every single person that we've recommended that small practice to has been like, wow, this is incredible. And it's so easy as well. And you don't need any extra tools. You don't need any extra like crystals or, any somatic healing circles or anything like that, which are great too. But it's just something you can do in the moment, no matter where you are. If you're
I was
out
going to say that.
yeah,
Yeah,
in
you
the
could be
shopping
on the
centre.
bus.
Yeah.
You could be in the library. You could be in the shopping centre, like anywhere you've got your breath. I love that. That's a really practical tool. And I think the 6 out is really specific because that's what kind of tricks the nervous system, isn't it? That's what makes it think, okay, well, if you're breathing out for that long, I must be feeling safe. I love that. And I think it's really, really good for anybody anywhere. I'm just having a little look at trauma responses, and you work with a lot of high functioning women. And it says that you name patterns called hyperindependence and people pleasing and perfectionism as a trauma response. So can you just talk me through that, please?
So people pleasing and hyper independence, again, stems from your childhood, where you've had a parent that can be quite overbearing or always striving for perfectionism. And you kind of almost learn that love is earned through performance. So you will then try to please everyone around you to earn their love. You'll become hyper independent because you've realized that you can't rely on anyone else. You know, you can only rely on yourself. And I am a hyper independent recovery addict. For, like, you know, that was totally me. Absolutely. And over the last couple years, I've learned that I can rely on other people. Like, I have an incredible, incredible team of people around me that I can call on for anything at any time, no matter how ridiculous it may seem. And they will hold me exactly where I need to be held. But it's another thing that stems very much from childhood trauma. I think all of our trauma responses really stem from those early years. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, we can still go through trauma and everything that as an adult, like domestic abuse, sexual abuse, and just to name a couple, that obviously there's lots and lots of
Yeah.
different forms of abuse out there. And that can absolutely trigger us into a flight or fight or fawn response. But if you've had that childhood trauma alongside it as well, it will impact on how you deal with that trauma as an adult that you go through too. So if you've had that childhood trauma and then you're experiencing that adulthood trauma, you find it a bit more difficult to navigate your way through it and get to the other side of it where you're not, where it's not like taking over your life so much.
Hmm.
Still there, it's still bouncing around inside you, but it's not taking up as much space for you anymore.
Yeah, and it's like patterns of behavior, isn't it? So if you were somebody that went through some, say it was a horrific childhood trauma and you've learned to deal with it, but actually you become an adult, something else happens, and a behavior, a response behavior can come back in and in and in. And that's why, like, you see people that say that they've been in lots of narcissistic relationships, say, it's because the pattern is repeating itself from childhood, from that narcissistic parent, and you almost seek out the familiarity. I think it's really interesting.
We do cycle breaking, yes.
Yeah.
I've actually been training with Natasha Libre this year, who is the founder of Heart Healing, and her work is incredible, and it's got such a great concept behind it. And she really leans into like the different saboteurs within your system from your own healing, your own trauma. And there's like the overgiver, the overprotector, like just to name a couple. I think there's 6 altogether. And you know, that again is coming in and breaking those cycles and learning about what triggered you to be in that cycle in the first place. She does have a quiz actually where you can go and do it and you can see what is your main saboteur. I think mine was the overgiver, and I was like, do you know what? That makes complete sense because
Oh,
it's
well, you've just named 2, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I think I could be both of them."
for me, the overgiver is because like I'm always really concerned that my work that I'm giving to people, you know, the way that I'm guiding them through programs and things like that, is it enough for them? Are they
Yeah.
getting what they need from me? And I'll give and give and give to the point where I'm burnt out. You know, like it's not healthy. And working through that myself, because training to be a heart healing practitioner, you also have to go through your
Excuse me.
own heart healing journey too. And it's been incredible for me. Even just learning that I can do public speaking easily. Like this time last year, if you had asked me to get on a stage, I would have been like, I would have done it, but my voice would have been shaking. I would have been like holding back my tears, and it would have been a horrendous experience for me. But I would have got up there and I would have done. I've spoken on stages this year confidently and presented myself well and in a way where I've not been like, oh my God, I'm going to die. um, that is all down to healing those different saboteurs and the different cycles that have been triggered for me from different traumas. So, like, I grew up in a household where you work until you're dead. You know, you didn't have a day off school unless your arm was falling off. Like
Hmm.
that was the household that I grew up in. So to me, like everything was earned. You had to have good grades. You had to have this. You had to be doing your homework. You had to be a good student to be able to earn the respect and the love in the family household. Now I went in the opposite way. I didn't go to school. I didn't get good grades. I was one of the children that had educational social worker because of how bad my attendance was. And I would bounced between households as well, because I come from a divorced family. And at my mum's, it was very much like that. And, you know, she meant the best. She just wanted the best for her children. And she believed that that would provide the best education and the best resources for us as we grew up. Whereas at my dad's house, I didn't have to go to school. I was allowed to smoke. I was allowed to drink. I was allowed to just
Mm.
do kind of what I wanted. And I would bounce between the two, because although it was great at my dad's house, there was also expectations of, like, you had to do the housework. Like, he wasn't
Mm.
gonna do washing and things like that, whereas my mum did everything for me, everything. But there was the rules of, you had to abide by these things to be able to get her love and acceptance as such, which isn't true. You know, she loves me no matter
Yeah.
what I do, but that's the way that it integrates into your nervous system. So I've had very different.
That's two different aspects
Mhm.
of two different kind of childhood experiences. So your nervous system is going to be on left and right because literally you're experiencing the what's it called? The polar opposites. So you've got one system that is going, okay, right, I need to do this. And the other one is almost not, I'm not dissing your parents in any way. Like with your dad, not you being able to do what you wanted at home. His way of doing that is showing you love through you're responsible, you can do what you want. But at the same time, your nervous system saying, yeah, but I have no boundaries here. Then the other, you've got the opposite where your mum's like, right, come on, we got to do this, you got to do this. But she's also loving you in a way that she's doing it everything that isn't like the washing and stuff. It's really confusing listening to it with your body. Wow, they, like your nervous system must have been all over the place. My childhood, it was all very violent is the only way I can put it. So I went through on treading on eggshells. It's so interesting to me. Literally, the more I think about it and delve into it and listen, your brain goes like off on a tangent.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think my childhood gives me a perspective to look at different ways that people have been through the different traumas and be like, yeah, I can relate to that, but I can also relate to that as well, because I've
Yeah.
had so polar opposite experiences. It just opens up a whole spectrum of me to be like, yeah, I get it. I completely understand. Like, I completely relate. And that then helps the people to connect to me and to listen to what I have to tell them and what I have to say, because I can be so understanding of their circumstances. So, as hard as it was, I'm
Hmm.
super grateful for the way that my parents were complete opposites of each other.
Yeah.
It's just opened up this whole spectrum for me of being like, oh, wow, yeah, that
And it's lived experience, isn't it? People can relate to you. And actually, I think there's this thing on TikTok at the moment going, can't you don't know this or something. It's something about I knew the assignment or something. I can't remember. But it's basically where people are saying there's no way you can feel this. And then they go around and they go, boom, this was me when I felt this. It's basically along the lines of there's no way that you can understand this. And then it like gives you a little couple of minutes and it's like, boom, yes, I can. So
yeah.
say it was somebody that walked through life that looked like they were really, really fit and healthy, but they say you can't understand this and they go, boom, that was me 40 kilos heavier. So it's like,
I was speaking to someone recently and we were talking about how it's so interesting because we meet people as they are, like now in the moment, but we never really understand everything that they went through to get to that person that they are within that moment. And it's so interesting to actually sit down and listen to people's life stories and be like, that's why you do things in this way. Like, that's so interesting. And that's why you now teach these things to other people, or that's why you started this career that you're in, because everything has such an incredible impact. And, you know, someone that's been through similar stuff to what I have throughout my life, they won't necessarily break into the same career path that I have,
mhm,
but they will choose their own journey. And it's interesting to me to be like, oh, well, because you're wired in that way, that's why you picked to go down that route. So, like for me, I stepped into the holistic world because my grandpa, he passed away on the 1st of this month, unfortunately.
aw,
And he has had cancer throughout pretty much my entire life. When I was about 6 years old, he was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. which is like one of the rare blood types. And as we've gone through the years and years and years, he's just developed other forms of cancer. He was a roofer, so he ended up getting some skin cancer because of the sun and like old
Son.
school roofer, not using protection. And
Mm-hmm.
all of that. In the last year or 2 years, he ended up having one of his ears removed because of cancer. He's had it in his throat. Um, and what finally took him was kidney cancer. But because he's had so many different treatments over the years from the Western world, it's destroyed his body to the point
Mm.
that they couldn't give him anything more. They couldn't, you'd think being kidney cancer, they could just take the kidney out. But they couldn't
Yeah.
even give him a surgery to remove the kidney because of how frail his body was. He was 68 years old when he passed away.
Wow.
He was really young. You know, he had my mum when he was 17. So we come from quite a young family.
Yeah.
And that pushed my auntie into being a chemotherapy nurse. That's the route that she went down because that's what she saw and that's what she experienced. When she was just going to university is when he was just diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. So she was like, she was already going into nursing, but it's what pushed her into specializing into like cancer. And she's climbed
Yeah.
the ranks, you know, she's incredible. She's a sister now on her ward. Like she does amazing work. And she's also in the research side of it where she's doing like the stem cell research and all of that too. And she does incredible, incredible work. But for me, as I was younger when that happened, and I've seen the damage and everything that that's caused to his body, it made me sit back and go, there has to be a better way. Like, there has to be something different. And this isn't me sitting here saying Western medicine is rubbish, like it has no place. It's me saying, well, what if we could integrate the Western medicine world and the holistic medicine world and bring them together into one cohesive place? Like, why does it always feel like it's one or the other? Like, why can we not
Mm.
integrate them together? And unfortunately, he was one of those people that really like believed in the Western medicine world. So I'm the black sheep of the family. You know, I'm the one that's like carving a new path and doing things a little bit differently. So when I come out with certain things, they just look at me like, shut up, Hannah. Like, you're crazy, which is fine. You know, I've come to terms with that. That's absolutely fine. But I know that I'm doing it differently and my children will grow up in a different way and they'll carry on that legacy to be different and move our family into a new generation of things. So he didn't try any of my holistic recommendations. They might have helped, they might not have. We don't know. It spread to his liver and his spine by the time he passed away. So it was quite intense. He literally on the Wednesday was in the hospital being told that they can't do anything for him. He's got no treatment. On the Friday, I got a phone call because I'd been in Blackpool at an award ceremony. I got a phone call from my mum saying, when are you home? Your grandpa's had a driver put in. And I used to work in care homes. So she knows I know what that means. Like a driver means that
I was
it's
going
end
to say,
of
I
life.
don't know.
It means it's end of life care. So it
Okay.
means like, but it's basically like an IV, you know, where they can
It's not like
easily,
pain meds and just to
and
make them feel
sickness
comfortable.
meds and all of that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
she's like, your grandpa's had the driver put in. And I'm like, okay, I'll be there tomorrow, you know. So I met up with
Yeah.
my brothers and we went there. And he passed away Monday at 3:30 a.m. And it was, I remember on the morning I woke up in like a sudden panic around 3:30, and then, you know, like just woke up, sat up, like Jesus, like it felt like something literally like passed through me.
Yeah. I've just
And I
got
was like,
goosebumps.
that's so like weird. And then I just like went back to sleep because it's 3:30 in the morning and I've got to get up
Mm-hmm.
with the kids and sort them out in the morning. I just need to go back to sleep. And then when I woke up with the kids, I seen that I had a message from my mum at about 5:30 saying like your grandpa's passed in the night about 3:30. And I was like, oh, that's why I woke up, because if he was going to come to anyone in the family to help him move through into the next era of his existence, it would have been me, you know, because I'm the
Mm-hmm.
one that understands that and believes in the afterlife and everything, whereas the rest of my family are they're still a bit mainstream. You
Yeah.
know, a bit like, not really sure. But I have learnt about my nan since his passing that she loves the moon and she believes in the afterlife, and she opened the window to let his spirit free. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So yeah, that's kind of what I think, shaped my journey to like step into the more natural, holistic, metaphysical world rather than going down the very like medical world, because
Yeah.
everyone in my family is in the medical world in some sense. My nan was a carer like all her life. She worked in care homes, senior carer. My mum started as a carer and she has then progressed into management role. So she's actually a manager of a nursing home. But obviously she has to have a great understanding around the medical world to be able to do that role as well. And then obviously my auntie is a nurse. So like I come from a
Mm.
family of healers just in a very different way, like because I've had the different experiences from such a younger age than what they had. So they've had no reason to really question the world and the way that it is. Whereas because I've had that, I've been like, there's a bit more to this. There's something, there's got to be a better way. There's something else out there.
Yeah, when you were talking then, when you said about the 3:30 in the morning, the thing that shot through my head was Moana. You know, when the grandma dies and she gets the stingray and she goes straight out to the ocean. That
Yeah.
is literally what went through my head. So yeah, I think that is beautiful. And also, by the way, I used to call my gramps grumpy. So
Did
it's
you?
like,
I don't
yeah,
come across many people that call them Grampy. I don't know why. Like, it's just something that I think my
yeah,
mum
no,
called.
I love it.
Yeah.
I've got Gramps tattooed on my wrist in the shape of a butterfly. Yeah, that's just a side note. Yeah, I think there is a lot more coming together of like medical and holistic and science and woo woo. We're getting there. It's just going to take time. I do want to. There's two things that you were talking about. One was metaphysical. Can you just explain that to me? I You are the second person in 24 hours. I had a lady from America voice note me yesterday who said has known angel sense since she was born and Claire sense since she was born. And then she said she's a metaphysicist. And like I said, I have no idea, but that's well, I can tell you that's in the last 12 hours. That's two people, which there's
It's
got to be something in there.
clearly a message you're meant to be hearing right now, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So for me, physical sciences is like the spiritual world of sciences. My got a degree in metaphysical sciences that I did with the University of Metaphysical Sciences. They're an American-based university. It's all like online, and yeah, that's the way that I learned how to do the work that I do. But there's so many different things that I did study to do that degree. So, like, just to name a few, because the list is long, like really long. We did like a deep dive into all the different religions because there's so many different ones across the
Hmm.
world, and what they all really like boil down to. It even comes down to, you know, like the chakras, the mantras and the mantras that you can do like through meditation practices. It can come into like spiritual nutrition as well. So being really like aware of what you're consuming and what you're putting into your body. We even looked at like altars, like if you live like in the witchy world at all, you know, like the different altars and rituals and things that you can put into practice. But it's called metaphysical sciences, but it's not really like traditional science as we know it. So I'd say it kind of relates a little bit to quantum physics more than it does other science based things. It's really just about tapping into like your energy and the spiritual side of life. I mean, I wrote my dissertation on the role of like integrating consciousness into community and integrating that in like a holistic healing way. Um, and obviously I did like deep dives into like natural supplements and different things that you can integrate to help a community thrive rather than just like an individual thrive, which is in the Strange Apothecary. It's very much about the individual because you're talking to the customer. Whereas I really wanted to do like a whole thing about how it can actually impact the world as a whole. If everyone was to take it a little bit more seriously, how that would then change the way that the world is and how we live our day-to-day lives.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting because metaphysics, now you've said it like that way, it makes sense. Meta is like whole, isn't it? And I'm actually going to have a little look at that because that sounds interesting. I'm a learner. I like to educate myself. So I'm going to have a little look at that university. But you put the nail on the head there. One, you've just said about the community side of things. Now I've seen on Facebook, you have been doing a lot of work for community. And I know you've just come up with this really big, like, community hub type thing. So please tell me about the community. And also there was a word that you said about 5 minutes ago, which was award. So I know that we need to talk about your awards, because I think 14 is what the number that's coming up for me.
15.
15. There we go. So yes, please tell me about the community and your awards. And I also want to talk to you about mushrooms and lion's mane. Don't know
Okay.
why, that's just come into my head.
Yeah, lion's mane is awesome. So the community is called the Strange Apothecary Foundation Wellbeing Hub. And the reason it's called the Strange Apothecary Foundation is because we have a community interest company that we run alongside our LTD company. It's very, very new. We're actually only approved to do the community interest company on the 15th of October. So
Oh, wow.
very new, very, very new. But the concept behind the foundation is to make holistic well-being accessible to everyone. Because I come across a lot of people that would love to be able to go and use ashwagandha or CBD or something like that, but they simply can't afford the supplement. They can't afford to pay that fee each month, whereas they either get their prescription for free depending on certain benefits and stuff that they're on, or they pay £9, and it's much easier and cost friendly to go to the GP and do it that way. But then when you do that, a lot of the time you end up with other symptoms and things that come from those different medications, and you end up on a cycle of taking 10, 20 different pills every day to overcome these different symptoms. And I see a lot of people in that situation, or I see people like myself who have chronic illnesses that they have no answers for. There's no cure, there's no treatment, there's nothing they can do. So then they're just like, well, you have this, off you go, see you later. And they don't actually give you anything to help manage that condition or to live more a normal, semi-normal life as much as you can. And then if you're not armed with the knowledge that you have, like we have with around how different supplements and different breathing techniques and different healing techniques and stuff like Reiki, reflexology, chiropractors, etc., can help you, then you just kind of get stuck in this rut. And it just feels like you feel horrendous and you feel like, well, this is my life. Like, what's the point? So the foundation is very much about helping those people that are in those situations to access holistic well-being people. And right now, because it is so new, our main focus is building a list of practitioners that are willing to work either pro bono or reduced rates. And obviously we're looking for funding. We're raising money ourselves for doing different things and stuff as well. And then as the foundation grows, we hope to be able to subsidize some of the costs for people with those practitioners. So then those practitioners aren't necessarily having to take a loss or do something for free, because I see the value in their work. I really do. But because we are so new, we need those people backing us and see the same vision that we see with it. So the group on Facebook has been around for a while, but we've recently revamped and rebranded it to be aligned with the foundation, because I was like, I need to have a space, like a home for this foundation, but I do not want to have to manage another social media page.
Yeah.
It will just get lost, like the Strange Apothecary has a business page, but it's nowhere near as utilized as my personal profile is. Whereas having a group, that's slightly different than managing a page. Everyone can come in and share content in a group.
And it almost manages itself with everybody else's it keeps it alive with everyone else's content, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And other people can answer other people's questions. So no, I love that. I think it's really important. So there's a lady, so I know you're Dorset, we're Wiltshire. Hello, neighbours.
Hello.
There's a lady called Natasha. She's Wood Wellbeing, and she is doing the same thing for the community in Amesbury, because we've got lots of things in Salisbury, but in Amesbury we don't. And people get secluded, don't they? People, and especially people that are on lower incomes, that maybe, like you say, chronic illnesses, are isolated. They are the people that we need to be in contact with. They're the people that need most of the help. Because if you are somebody that does earn a lot of money, and if you are somebody that has access to funding, then you can use that funding and go and buy your products, buy your healing methods. But if you're somebody like, I know I have a friend who is, she's fine with money, but chronic illness is really difficult. And she was like you, she can't move forward. She has no, they've said to her, we can't do anything for you. We've given you this tablet. In fact, so much so, I'm going to email her with the Strange Apothecary website after so she can have a look. But yeah, I think it's this world we're living in, and we're still so far apart, aren't we?
Yeah.
Low
We really
income,
are.
rich.
Yeah. So like one of my, I call her a client. She's actually become one of my like best friends, and she's now a board member of the foundation as well. And she lives in Yorkshire, so we're quite a distance apart. We've got board members on like the four corners of the country. It's great.
I love
But
that.
when I met her, because I met her online to start with, she couldn't leave her bedroom. You know, like she was so like she's got chronic illness and mental health issues as well. And she was at the point where she could not even leave her bedroom because of her physical body not allowing her and her mental health not allowing her. Like she wasn't one of those people that couldn't leave the house, like she could not leave her bedroom.
Hmm.
Horrendous for her. And she's been working really, really closely with me for a few years now. And actually, today, she is hosting her first ever chronic illness coffee morning. And she's also been out doing community work and like teaching people. She's really, really passionate about eco-friendly cleaning. So she's been out hosting workshops for people, teaching them how to make eco-friendly cleaning products, you know? And like the growth that we've seen from her in particular has been absolutely phenomenal. And when I said, like, I want to launch a CIC, I literally went to them and I was like, please tell me I'm batshit crazy and to stop it. Because, like, my workload is already insane. And they were like, Hannah, we can't tell you to stop it because this needs to happen. I was like, for fuck's sake. Like, because sometimes I just like it's the ADHD in me, right? Sometimes I just need someone to like rein me in and be like,
Hmm.
stop it. Which
Okay.
my partner,
The thing is, though, hun, when you've got a really good idea and when it just needs to happen, there's just no, yeah, it's not, especially if you've got lots of people that around you that are neurodivergent or they've got something, everyone comes together and it's like this, I don't know, Skittles.
it really is. But I think that's where we thrive as well, because a lot of us are neurodivergent, so we just bounce ideas constantly. And like, yeah, some of those ideas are like, nah, like they don't go any further than the idea phase, but then some of them are like, wow, this is
This is it.
incredible, like we
Yeah.
need to move forwards with this. And that's exactly what the foundation was like. But yeah, it's just so new and we're still doing work to raise money for it. Our goal at the moment is to raise £1,000 so we can produce 50 wellbeing boxes, and I will then give those wellbeing boxes to this organization called the Vale Family Hub, which is in my local area, and they work with families that are really struggling to get food, or like they've got like a little like soft play area where they can like have families come in and have like tea and toast for like £1.20. You know, like it's a ridiculously cheap, but that's what they're there for. They're there to help the community. So I want to produce 50 wellbeing boxes, and then that £1,000 allows me £20 a box, and then give them.
Which is a decent amount of money
Yeah.
for one box, especially when it's somebody can't even afford to go to a cafe and get a regular priced meal. So yeah, that's amazing.
So that's our goal right now. And right now we're at about £400 that we've raised to be able to do that particular thing. And we've been raising money in all kinds of ways. So like I've been doing tarot readings on like a donation basis. So we do this thing called the Sacred Showcase, which is happening in the group this week right now. And we've been doing that all year. But now that we've got the foundation, we've decided that the money that we make from doing the Sacred Showcase, where we have these businesses come in and showcase their stuff for an hour, we only do it once a month for a week. That money that we do raise from that will now go into the foundation because it's within the foundation's hub. You know, we've had people just, donate money. We've got people that are auctioning off bits from their business to raise money for the foundation, like crystal businesses auctioning off like a massive like sphere and seeing how much they can get for it. And then they send that money to the foundation. So we have so many people there supporting us, but because it's so new, like we're just trying to climb our way up right now. And then once we do get the £1,000 to do those boxes, that will be us then introducing ourselves to our local community and being like, this is us, this is the foundation, and this is what we can do for you. Because they don't know too much about us yet, because we've not had that opportunity to really get out there and get in front of people. And we are doing an annual fundraiser as well, and the first one will be in June next year. And it's just like a holistic market where everyone comes together and they showcase their businesses to the local community. Because there's nothing like that in my area. So I was
Don't
like, do you know
think
what?
there's anything like that in Wiltshire either, or Salisbury especially.
You know, because I do attend a lot of markets myself and pop up in different places. And people are always like, oh, are you local? And I'm like, no, but I'm online and I just like to come and like meet new people and have a fun day out, you know? So yeah, that's going to be like our annual fundraiser. And, you know, we've had so much backing for that as well, to the point that we've had people sponsoring the event to help pay for the venue and the advertising and everything of it. So that's absolutely incredible. I'm so grateful to everyone doing that. Just to give our sponsors a little shout out, because I probably
With regards to the award is to do with community, isn't it? And no, you've got community, raising money, being so eco and green. You've got 15 awards. Are they for the same thing, or
no, they're not. So that obviously 15 is a lot. Like a lot. We've got 7 of those this year, so it's been a pretty mega year for us. The most recent one that we got was the Dream Team Award, which is incredible because that's me and my business partner Jess being recognised for the work that we do. So I am the founder of the Strange Apothecary, and Jess coming about a year later of the whole cannabis journey. I mean, she's been with me ever since, and she's one of my best friends. We actually met online and I employed her from meeting her online, and then our friendship has grown from there. And like, she's part of my family.
Yeah.
She's just amazing. But the way that we work together is I'm ADHD and I'm pretty sure she's undiagnosed autistic. So I am the one that will be like, oh, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. And Jess is the one in the background holding it all together and putting all the strategies in place to keep it running. And she is the head of the affiliate side of the business as well. So she makes sure that they're all okay and they've all got what they need. And, you know, our affiliate system isn't like, here's your link, off you go. We've got a full like community that you can integrate yourself into. Like, they're amazing. They help each other, they hold each other. There's a question, one of them generally answers it before we even get the opportunity to read it. They're absolutely amazing. But yeah, that's what the most recent award was for. And that was from the Flamingo Business Awards. And that is headed by Elizabeth McCullen. And she actually runs a car finance business that helps women specifically to get a car, because obviously like being a woman and most women don't know much about cars and can find the car finance world very intimidating, very male dominant. She helps them to go and get what they need, and like she does amazing work. She's very glam, very prestigious. So to be honoured by her and to get that Dream Team Award, we were like, whoa. It was funny actually, because we walked into that award ceremony being like, nah, not gonna be us. Because we were up against some incredible people that I have like the utmost respect for. And the judge of the award didn't know us either. And he's very, very bro marketing, which is like the complete opposite to what we are. He's a lovely guy. And they had a runner-up. And they announced the runner-up, and we were like, maybe if there's a runner-up, maybe it could be us. And then it wasn't us, and we were like, oh, okay, that's fine. And we just kind of like sat back and was like, like, and then all of a sudden they're like, the Strange Apothecary, and we're like, what? Like, excuse me? Because like even after getting those 14 other awards, this 15th one was like, it just, I don't know, something was different about it. It was like, well, God, there's a lot of tough, strong competition here. And I honestly thought it was gonna be this other company because they are amazing. They're called Health and Hustle. And they're also a lesbian couple as well. So I was like, you can't get much more dream team, right? Like being like a couple together and doing like incredible work. And the way that they work with their clients and stuff is amazing too. I'm great friends with them. I honestly thought it would have been them. And then yeah, our name was called and we were just like, shit. Like I hadn't like prepared like a speech or anything because I literally walked into that and was just like, I'm just here to see my friends.
Yeah.
Like a lot of my business friends are like up in like the northwest, and obviously I'm down in the southwest. So I'll take those opportunities to go and see them and see what they're doing. And this was in Blackpool, so
Oh,
very,
wow.
very northwest.
Yeah.
So we all gathered there and I was just like, hi guys, how you all doing? Haven't seen you for a while. Just having a good night. And then, yeah, I was just like, geez, I can't believe like we're actually walking out with this. Like, this is mental.
That's amazing. So that was the dream team. And what were the other awards for?
I was tallying up like commission that we've paid out because we have the affiliate system. So we pay commission, and I'd worked out that we'd paid over £100,000 in commission. And like that's to mostly mums that are just trying to, earn a little bit of extra cash to put food on the table, buy their kids presents, all of that. And the fact that we've paid out £100,000 in commission, that means that like how many like different people's lives have we impacted, not just by supplying the products that we do, because they've had to sell the product to be able to earn the commission in the first place, but to the people that we've paid as well, the families that we've impacted, because not only have we impacted that person that's been paid the commission, like their kids might have not had milk for their cereal the next day if they hadn't have been paid that commission. And we don't have like a minimum amount or anything or any targets or anything on our commission. So you don't have to earn X amount before you get paid it. You can have 42p to be paid and I will pay it to you.
Yeah.
I understand how much that tiny little bit can impact a family. Like, you could be like 42p short of putting £10 on your electric. It can make a
Yeah.
massive difference. It seems really insignificant, but I think because I have been in that situation myself, been through poverty, and I've been living like mouth to mouth, it's just one of those things that I deeply have a sense of like understanding with. I remember our first ever Christmas with my son. So I was the breadwinner, and then I went on
Yeah.
maternity leave. So I used to be a chef. I went on maternity leave and I was like, I'm not going back because then we just have to pay for childcare anyway. And my partner was an apprentice. So money was hard because apprentices
Yeah.
get shit.
Don't get a lot. It's like 80 quid a week or something.
Honestly, it was ridiculous, like absolutely ridiculous for the work that he did as well. And he was training to be an engineer too. So like it was quite like intense. And I remember our first Christmas with our son, we didn't have a Christmas tree. I cut a branch off the tree outside and brought it inside. And I just like I used to do a lot of sewing, and I just had some like old ribbons and feathers and things like that around that I just, made our own decorations and like hung them on the tree. And like that was our first ever Christmas. We didn't have anything. And thankfully he was a baby, so he
Yeah.
didn't really understand that like he didn't have many presents or anything. I mean, Christmas isn't about that really anyway, but
No, but it is impactful, isn't it? And especially when you are an adult looking at it, you want to give your children the best you can possibly give. Now, personally, I know that with what you've just said, you've still made that particular branch special for your son, and I love that. That's just like my little heart melting a little bit.
So yeah, that's where the 100,000 comes from. It's just
Right. Oh,
yeah,
good. I remember seeing a Facebook post with 100,000 and then like a list of lots and lots of things. So that
yeah,
it is in there.
yeah. No, that's
Um,
definitely where that's from.
I can you know the couple that came from nothing that did the sausage roll song?
Yep, Mad
Right.
Baby.
Thank you. Couldn't think of what they're called. So you've just sparked a memory. So they have just done a post where they have actually done a petition with the government to get milk on vouchers. So they
Wow.
can get vouchers. So with what you were just saying about mums and people not being able to afford those things that you have been able to help them with, that's just sparked the thing where they've done something with the government.
I know that Lad Baby, when they do their songs and everything, they donate all the proceeds into food banks, don't they?
Yeah,
Which is incredible. Like they do some amazing work. I know they get a lot of stick as well, but actually I really like them and I think they're an incredible couple and they do so much. And like because they do so much as well, why does that mean that they can't thrive themselves too? Which is such an odd mindset to have, isn't
I
it?
know. Like you want people to do well, but when they do well, you're kind of ridiculing it. Like they've come from nothing and they're doing stuff to help other people that don't have a lot. Like that is human. That is humane. That is what we want to do. Like with everything that you're doing with your foundation and what you're doing with your work, as in having like a sliding scale of monetary value so that everybody has access to it. That is the ultimate dream, isn't it? To
It really is. It really
help.
is.
That's
Yeah.
why I'm doing the podcast. Like I think through my own triggers and honestly, so much stuff you've said today, which is like keeps coming up in my head. But my triggers is I I needed to find an outlet to help other people. And I was trying to find my own way of healing on my own journey. So I was experimenting with lots of different modalities. But by doing that, I found all you lovely people. And I was like, other people need to know about it. So it is like literally, I don't know, this thing unfolding. And I just think it's magical. And I'm with you. I don't think for 1 second that anybody that, even if they gain, please, if I won the lottery tomorrow, I would not stop doing this. This is my dream, my passion. And yes, I can talk for England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, probably the world. But I just know in my heart, in my stomach, I know that somebody will listen to this episode, even this particular episode with you, and be like a stranger. Like I've just said, I'm going to send it to my friend who I know has got really bad chronic illness. And then, but there are women that, I'm saying women, but that men as well, but women that are high functioning, got 55,000 million things on their plate that need regulation can come onto this episode. They can listen to this and be like, I need to contact Hannah. I need to look through. And I looked through your link tree this morning that you have so many resources,
Funny. Like it's a
so
little bit
many.
actually. One of our awards is actually the education that we provide alongside our products as well. So like it was like best when we were just a CBD company or something along the lines of best CBD product and educational resources because no matter what category of product that we have, we also always have a free ebook on our website for people as well. So we've got a CBD ebook, a mushroom ebook, ashwagandha ebook, shilajit ebook, essential oils, and there's loads of other resources there as well, which are free. And that is just because we strongly believe that providing the information and the education to our clients, or even if they don't become our clients, just providing that information to someone can be the make or break of their life, just to give them the education around how different things work. And like the CBD ebook, for example, it's not an ebook that you're going to download and it's going to be like, right, take CBD for this, 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 and this, because I'm not allowed to say those things. Like, I'm not allowed to make medical claims about the products because
Hmm.
it's under the MHRA guidance and that. And obviously, that's very heavily influenced by the pharmaceutical world. And they don't want the holistic practitioners being out there shouting about how the different natural things can help different health conditions. So I have to be really, really careful of how I word things.
Hmm.
But it will tell you about how CBD works and what you should be looking for in a CBD product and how to read a label on a CBD product to really understand what that label means. Because a lot of the time, companies will try and hide things behind certain language, and they'll be like, "Oh, well, it's got 10,000 milligrams of CBD in it, so it's really potent." But then the bottle will be like 100 ml bottle. So then actually the percentage of the CBD that you'll be taking each day is really, really diluted. So just to throw an example out there, a 10 ml bottle of CBD, so like one of the small little bottles that you see, if that's got 500 milligrams of CBD in there, that is classed as a 5% CBD product. 1,000 milligrams would be a 10% CBD product. 1,500 would be a 15% CBD product. And a lot of companies will throw out the milligram, but then not actually tell you the percentage of it. And that's the bit that matters. And that's the bit that matters most, because I always get asked, why don't you sell CBD in bigger bottles? I'm like, well, because one, is the percentage that matters. And two, if I was to sell it in the bigger bottles, I'd have to add more CBD to the product, which is then going to bump the price up of that product for you to be able to use it in an effective way. So actually, it doesn't work. I wouldn't be able to start my bottles at $12.99. I would have to start them at a much, much higher rate. And then it's not accessible to everyone anymore. And do you really want to be out there spending like 60 quid on a bottle of CBD just because it's going to last you a little bit longer? Like, really, like, once you've opened it, you should use it in a certain amount of time as well.
And then just get organized. So on that note, then you've got the resources, you've got the ebooks that you can get with it. How can people get in contact with you if they want to work with you, either through the foundation, if they are a company, or as an affiliate, or if it's somebody that actually thinks, I need somebody to help me on my healing journey? How can they get hold of you?
So it's actually really, really easy to get hold of us. If you pop to our website, which is strangeapothecary.co.uk, there is a button at the top that says WhatsApp us. And you literally click that button and it takes you into our WhatsApp community. So it's not a direct link into me, but it takes you into our WhatsApp community where you can join the announcements thread where we send. So we have an email list, but we also send our emails in the announcement thread as well, just to get it in front of people a bit more. Because emails get lost and buried, and whereas WhatsApp, it's a bit more direct and instant viewing. And also within that community, you have a community thread, which you can join a group chat and you can send a message in there yourself as well. So you can step into the community there, you can ask a question, and it will either be me, Jess, or one of our many, many affiliates that will come in and help you. So you get seen to extremely quickly by going that route. Or if you want direct access to me, then email at contact@strangeapothecary.co.uk, or find me on Facebook is always the best place to find me, is Facebook. I don't know, I'm an old soul, and Facebook is my jam. Like, I've tried to move to Instagram many times. I tried to use LinkedIn, but I feel like I'm just old. Like, I think I should be a boomer, really. Facebook is where it's at for me.
Yeah, I can't even step into the realm of LinkedIn. It doesn't interest me, and it's probably the wrong thing to say, but I'm with you. I do love my Instagram. I love my Instagram, and I'm trying TikTok. I'm trying to do all the pies at the moment, but obviously this is a new thing. So, okay, right. I'm going to wrap up because I think you and I could probably keep going, and my belly is saying, Lydia, you've not had any breakfast, so get yourself off.
You didn't have a Nutella on toast?
No, I did have a spoonful though. Oh my gosh, I did. Yeah, I am so very grateful. I know that we've touched on a little bit, so I would love it if you would come and be a guest in the new year somewhen.
Yeah.
And we can go down another route.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think people will benefit from you and from everything that you are about. And I appreciate everything that you're doing across the border in sunny Dorset, as well as the whole of the country, as you just said, West Yorkshire. Thank you so much. If anybody has been triggered by anything that Hannah and I have said today, then please reach out. That I'll put lots and lots of different resources in the show notes. If you'd like to contact me and be on the podcast, or have a subject you'd like me to talk about, then it's at Riding the Trauma Train on most social media platforms, and I will DM you back myself, or Riding the Trauma Train podcast at gmail.com. So thank you, Hannah, again for being here today, and I look forward to our next conversation.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I would love to come back to do another episode. Honestly, yeah, I think we could. You say talk for the world. I think we could talk for the universe, actually.
Yes, agreed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me today on Riding the Trauma Train. I'm Lydia, and I feel privileged to share this space with you. No matter where you are on this train right now, whether it's in survival mode, slowly finding your feet in recovery, or maybe it's somewhere in between, remember, you are not alone in what you're feeling, and you do not have to travel this journey by yourself. So if you'd like to continue traveling together, please follow Riding the Trauma Train wherever you're listening so you can join us at the next stop. Until next time, take care. Thank you so much for joining me today on Riding the Trauma Train. I'm Lydia, and I feel privileged to share this space with you. No matter where you are on this train right now, whether it's in survival mode, slowly finding your feet in recovery, or maybe it's somewhere in between, remember, you are not alone in what you're feeling, and you do not have to travel this journey by yourself. So if you'd like to continue traveling together, please follow Riding the Trauma Train wherever you're listening so you can join us at the next stop. Until next time, take care.